I left my boyfriend because he wouldn't stop murdering me. The first time John Paul Morgan killed me was an accident. We were having a stupid argument, I can't even remember what it was about, and then he pushed me down the stairs. I tried to reach for the railing unsuccessfully, and the last thing I can remember is a look of horror on John Paul's face. Then I flipped over and landed headfirst, bending my neck almost 180 degrees around, killing me instantly. I woke up sometime later in the trunk of John Paul's Grand Am next to a shovel, a box of lavender-scented garbage bags, and a hacksaw. I tried to call out, JP, but my vocal cords were fried. That'll happen when your head nearly gets ripped off. Instead, I just started kicking the ceiling of the trunk. John Paul must have heard me because he slammed on the brakes, sending me and everything else in the trunk flying into back seats. By the time I untangled my hair from his hacksaw, JP was standing over the open trunk, the shadow of him blocking out the light of the full moon. I thought you, he stuttered, but you were dead? I wheezed as I hopped out of the trunk, my voice sounding like a garbage disposal. Guess it wasn't as bad as it looked. Elsie, John Paul was barely speaking above a whisper now. Your head was completely twisted around. You didn't have a pulse. John Paul rushed forward and scooped me up in a big hug. I thought I lost you, baby. I thought I killed you. Oh, JP, I said, gently rubbing his back. You did. John Paul cried into my hair, and I told him how I became immortal. I won't bore you with the details like I did him. Afterwards, JP apologized and promised to be a better man. Then he drove us home, holding my hand the whole way. The second time John Paul killed me, I think he was just curious. Maybe he convinced himself the first time was a fluke, or that it didn't happen at all. Either way, I ended up with a split skull, and JP needed a new frying pan. They don't make them like they used to. This time, there was no trunk, no shovel, and thank God, no hacksaw. I woke up on the floor of our living room in a big pool of blood, my head still ringing like a bell. John Paul was sitting crisscross applesauce at my feet, waiting patiently. You weren't kidding, he whispered, afraid that somebody else might learn our secret. You really are immortal. I probably should have left JP after that, but would you believe that? Even after centuries of practice, it's still hard to meet new people? John Paul made me laugh. He listened to me when I talked about my interests, and he knew my secret. I hadn't told another soul that I was immortal in decades. I guess I thought I could fix him, sand away the rough edges until I had someone worth spending a few decades with. I had all the time in the world, right? The next 7 times JP killed me were murders each and every one. I guess it got a little easier each time until he didn't even feel bad about it anymore. If he had a bad day, or there was too much traffic on the way home, he'd come home and choke me until I turned blue. I became his stress ball, his favorite way to blow off steam. It's not like you're going to die, JP would argue. I am still dying, I'd point out, and we'd argue and argue until eventually JP would say something like, if you love me, you'll let me do this. And the thing is, I did love him. But I didn't love what he was doing to me, so in the end I left him. Not before he killed me at least half a dozen more times, of course, each death worse than the last. After we broke up, John Paul tried to win me back, using every tool in his arsenal. Sometimes when I showed up for work, there'd be a bouquet of flowers waiting for me. Other times I'd go out to my car and find an envelope tucked under my windshield wiper, and inside was a letter threatening to expose what I was to the world. When JP's mom texted me, I was sure it was another ploy to get us back together, feeding me some story about how he was in the hospital and needed to see me before it was too late. I tried to ignore her, but she was persistent. Eventually, she wore me down, and I went and visited JP. We didn't catch it in time, John Paul said, tears in his eyes. Oh God, Elsie, I'm so scared. Pancreatic cancer, terminal and very, very painful. I'm sorry, JP, I truly am, I said. I don't need you to be sorry for me, he spit. I need you to help me. I could already tell where this conversation was going. JP, I can't. Make me immortal. I remember your story. I know you can. Please, I don't want to die. I thought about all the times John Paul murdered me, how excruciating it was to be killed over and over again by the man I loved. On one condition, I said. Name it. I don't want you to ever contact me again. No more trying to win me back. No more threatening letters or flowers. After this, we never see each other again. Deal? Deal, he said.